All right, so it is almost 4:30, so I want to make sure that we wrap this up and conclude this day, and we're all on the same page. Um, I want to remind everyone that, our goal here today is not to provide a service. It's to create an outcome. Remember that we started this morning with 5 questions, a roadmap for the day that we were going to answer by the end of today, and hopefully we've done that. If anyone feels we haven't, please come up to me afterwards and talk to me. I'm happy to talk to you about it. But to remind you again, question number 1, what is the source of credibility? Our answer, credibility is accountability to knowledge. Be able to say what you know, why you know it, and provide evidence. That was the exercise we did this morning. Remember? That's question number 1. Question number 2, what is an evidence-based, value-driven argument? Evidence is the concrete building blocks we all find credible, even if we don't agree on their interpretation. A value-driven argument is something that adds to the conversation. Specifically, what is your contribution? Question number 3, what's the difference between being right versus being effective? That's why I shared those examples of Sex and the City op-ed and Stepford Wives op-ed. The most powerful concepts in this regard are empathy and respect. Now, remember before that I mentioned that there are some arguments out there that have changed the world and have changed the world on a massive scale. Well, 2 of those are in your handouts at the back. Specifically, Martin Luther King Jr.'s letter from a Birmingham jail and Gloria Steinem's essay, If Men Could Menstruate. Now, lots of people made a case for civil rights and for feminism. These 2 individuals weren't the only ones. But very few people made it more effectively than they did. And if we're going to learn about being effective, we might as well learn from the masters, right? So I invite you to read those essays in the back of your packets and read them not as historical documents, but as living documents that we can learn from and borrow techniques from. 4th, what is the bigger picture? That was the triangle exercise we did. Again, your ability to see the bigger picture and bigger value in your knowledge and experience is what makes it possible. And I highly recommend that you run through that triangle exercise for yourself when you go home. It's really, really thought-provoking and very helpful, so I highly encourage you to do so. Finally, our 5th question, what is the value of your knowledge and experience to others? That's why I gave you the cancer scenario this morning. The purpose of it was to push all of us to the logical implications of the way we talk about ourselves and our knowledge, especially when we talk about ourselves in the self-abnegating way, and the loss to the world when we do that. Many of you said when given the cancer scenario, you wouldn't hesitate to speak up, right? Because it would matter, it's important, it would save lives, right? The implication of that, though, is that many of us are walking through our lives and acting as if the things that we spend our lives on day in and day out, the things we put our work into, the things that we pour our passion into, we're acting as if they're not important, or as if they don't matter. What if they did? What we did here today, it's not really important. What matters is what each one of you does when you walk out that door. I want to remind you again of why we're here. Many people have asked, why are there so few women in public thought leadership roles? Is it sexism? Is it biology? At the Op-Ed Project, we say it could be sexism, could be biology, but who the hell knows if we're not submitting op-eds, right? And furthermore, what if this is just a numbers problem? It's a pattern that keeps replicating because it's a pattern. Well, we know from history that patterns can change. This is about voice, power, access. But it's also about numbers. What would it take to solve this problem and to reach a tipping point where we change that pattern for good? Well, what would it take to get us from 15% representation, which is where we are right now, to about 33% representation, which is where the research says the tipping point is that changes a pattern forever. We've crunched some numbers internally, and we've concluded that it would take 15,000 new women expert voices in the national conversation submitting every year. And we think that, that's not a pipe dream. 15,000 is doable. It's doable. The Op-Ed Project alone has reached over 5,000 women on a shoestring budget, I might add, but over 5,000. But we know we can't do it alone. Even with our amazing mentor-editor network, we can't do it. There just aren't enough of us. But we do think we can do it through all of you. So, I need to ask you 3 things. First, write an op-ed. If you didn't realize it, over the course of today, you built up the bare bones of your op-ed. Now just go home and fill in the blanks. We have on our website information to hundreds of outlets, submission information, word length, all there for you to look at. If there is an outlet that you don't know the submission info for and you can't find it on our website either, just email us. We have interns, we can have them research that for you and get back to you. Also, if you're looking for some help on your draft, we can help you with that as well. Because you've all now been a part of this program, you're considered alumni of the Op-Ed Project, and you have access for 1 whole year to our amazing, incredible resource called the Mentor-Editor Network. This is 80 people and growing, Pulitzer Prize-winning, highly experienced editors and writers who have agreed to give you feedback on your drafts. The way it works is you have to send us a full draft. You can't send us an idea or a pitch. We need a full draft, and we will match you with one of our mentor editors, and they'll give you feedback. These individuals are obviously highly experienced, but they actually believe in this as well. They want you to succeed, and they have generously given of their time and very busy schedules to do this. I can tell you that for first-time writers, for people who are relatively inexperienced, and even for experienced writers, having a critical eye, and such an experienced critical eye, give you feedback is invaluable. It's like gold. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of this opportunity. Get started on your op-ed and then just send it on over and we'll make that match happen. Next, so write your op-ed. Next, I want to ask you to pay it forward. Share what you've learned and what we've discussed today with other women who you think need to have their voices heard. All the documents in front of you are open source. Feel free to copy and distribute those as you like. The only thing we ask is that you keep the Op-Ed Project logo and our URL at the bottom of each page. And also send people our way. We have public seminars just like this one across the country, currently in 7 cities, but we're growing. If you suggest this to other people, have them look at our website. On the front page, there's the latest public seminars that are available and the dates and links to register. That said, as you know, this isn't free. It does cost, there is a cost associated with attending the public seminars. But that said, we do scholarship up to 40% of our seminars, so no one will be turned away because they can't afford it. We just ask that those individuals pay in words. We ask them to write a draft as part of their application. And finally, connect us with your university or organization. Our goal is to have 15,000 new women experts submitting as soon as possible. So if you would like to champion us in an introduction to your organization or university, please come up to me after this and we'll talk, and I'll put you in connection with our staff that can have that conversation start and get rolling. And so those are my 3 asks of you. Write an op-ed, pay it forward, and connect us with your university or organization. One more logistical note before we conclude, which is you will receive an email from us within the next 48 hours giving everyone's email information and contact information, including mine. If you do not want to be on that email for some reason, totally fine. Just come up to me after this and let me know, and I'll make a note, and we'll make sure not to include you on that. Everyone else, you'll receive that note again in 48 hours. And so with that, I want to officially conclude the day and simply say thank you. This was an enormous privilege and honor to be working with all of you, so really, thank you.